Rico. Ui, ai, 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 ai.
We started in Brazil, so the movie started with the honeymoon.
Shooting in Rio was really an experience.
Brazil is kind of chaotic, but it was the most amazing environment.
Like visually stimulating stuff. It was great.
It makes for a nice location change from cold, rainy Forks, Washington. There were tons of challenges, you know, shooting in Brazil and in a condensed time frame.
When you've only got 3 or 4 days in a certain location, and every minute and every hour is so vital.
So if it was rainy one day, we had to go inside and shoot them making breakfast. If it was sunny, we ran up to the tops of waterfalls and did all of that stuff that will make audiences feel they've had the idyllic honeymoon.
These are books that have become very important to millions of people, and every one of those people fantasizes about what that perfect honeymoon looks like.
A lot of the sequence of Brazil came out of some interaction that I had with Bill at the beginning of how to present that place. I grew up in Latin America, so Brazil was very close to me in that sense, culturally speaking.
Guillermo describes Brazilian culture as a place where there's a sense of magic, that magic exists in the world, and the fact that newlywed vampire and vampire-to-be couple would go there was something that he thought we could really start to explore and express through the landscape and through the people there.
Here we go. And music, please.
Vai, música!
And action!
The first day was actually Lapa. That's the scene where Belle and Edward get out of the car and walk through the streets. And that was really exciting because to kind of stage this party that took on a life of its own, basically.
I said to Bill, what if we actually found the place where these kids go? Where, like, if it was New York, we'd be in the East Village. We wouldn't be on the Upper East Side. If it was Paris, we would be in the 18th. We wouldn't be in the 2nd. So when these kids in Brazil actually see this movie, they're going to look and they go, ah, Lapa. They got it right. This is where we go.
Fiquei com medo porque eles não virem para cá filmar, né? Porque eles podem muito bem fazer cenário em qualquer outro lugar.
País maravilhoso, com paisagens perfeitas.
Acho que nenhum filme nunca retratou isso antes. Nunca passaram essa realidade para lá. É bem diferente.
And action!
Muito apaixonada, apesar da idade, sou igual adolescente.
Toda jovem adolescente sonha em ter aquele vampiro que te faça perder o fôlego quando você o vê, que sinta aquelas pernas de bambas, o coração partindo, sabe, batendo mais acelerado.
Se você encontrasse com ele, o que você daria pra ele?
Não sei,
Se eu os visse, eu pediria um beijo de cada um no rosto.
Acho que eu nem ia conseguir ficar em pé.
The outpouring of love of the fans in Brazil. It's unbelievable.
They were great. You know, I think they were very respectful. People would still be drinking and dancing between setups and obviously when the camera was off. And it was a really magical way to start the movie.
In case you don't know me, I'm Bill, one of the producers, and this is about synchronizing everybody on this company. There will be a lot of activity, especially starting Sunday afternoon at the marina.
We're trying to get in and out of the Marina Gloria as quick as we can. It's our intention to be rolling film as soon as it is dark.
A gente começa na Marina da Glória, no anoitecer, e a gente vai até o cair da noite.
Background!
Back.
So we're not staying in Rio?
No, just passing through.
Okay. Is it not all the way, or is it maybe it's not all the way in part?
Yeah.
Cut. Good. Forward. Forward.
I didn't really learn how to drive it. I went for a lesson and crashed the practice boat, and then I went to Brazil and crashed the Brazilian boat too.
Go forward again.
Yeah, I know how to drive a boat all right. I went to a lesson.
Let it idle forward.
I am definitely not nautical.
Makes it easy. Don't give it any gas.
God. But it was really fun. After a couple of takes, I very much considered just leaving in it.
Action. Cut. Okay. All right. Checking the gate, guys. So we just make sure you get the measurements.
I'm gonna count you as on board, all right? So don't be out here filming our departure. You'll never make it to parity.
Fast forward to the tropical island from Rio de Janeiro.
That was a 5-hour highway road trip.
Winding coast of Brazil, it's beautiful. You see a lot of countryside.
We went to this adorable little town called Paraty.
Paraty is sort of the colonial village that was the main town that you would leave from to then take a half-hour boat ride to get to Isle Esme.
The Honeymoon is written as an island off the coast of Brazil.
This is described as being absolutely remote from any other island. Well, there are hundreds of islands off the coast of Brazil, but they're all kind of within spitting distance of each other. So finding a place that felt like it was remote enough where there was a house on the beach, because they have laws against that there, can present challenges.
What was needed for the story and for the script doesn't exist in Brazil. Big, beautiful houses don't exist on the beach. There's the house, there's lawn, there's a wall, gates, and then there's sand. The beaches are all public over there. What we ended up finding was a house with a big lawn in the front, which we took the whole lawn and turned that into sand. And it's just astonishing.
Okay. Copy that.
Taking something that comes out of someone's imagination and then making it connect to reality, that was really fun. It felt very satisfying.
All right, here we go. Camera up.
Mark B.
Mark. Set.
And action.
I win.
The first couple of days we got there were amazing.
The weather was great. The water was like turquoise. It was beautiful. It was going to be perfect.
And then almost everything that could go wrong went wrong.
We showed up on the top of the day, and it was reasonably a normal day. We started at 8, 9 in the morning. The weather seemed somewhat consistent in the where it was stable.
And roll sound.
You realize how many eggs you've gone through since you got here?
Yeah, my appetite's been crazy.
Mid-afternoon, the wind started to pick up.
We didn't have a forecast that was going to tell us that it was going to be this bad at all.
I'm starving.
You realize how many eggs you've had?
The weather started to turn for the worse at 6 in the evening. About 8:30 in the evening, Marine coordinator confirmed that it was starting to approach the point of no return and suggested that we wrap things up and get off the island. We immediately wrap it up and start heading down to the dock.
We're all going down to the docks, and it was pouring down rain, and everyone's covering up, and they're like, we can't bring the boats in, turn around, go back.
Now we should start a pulpit. All right, so here we are at the Casadino in Paraty, or Alta Costa Paraty. Take a look at everybody shacking around. And they're starting to clamor at my skirt. We're in a holding pattern based on a quoted 120-kilometer-an-hour winds and in the eye of the storm, or a tempesta as they call it.
This is a very unique situation. Day 3 of shooting. We usually expect this to be like being reined in Vancouver.
Hey, how we doing, everybody, please? Be careful with the props and the furniture, all right? Everybody just take care. This is all rental furniture. This is a hot set that we're going to be using for the next 2 days.
So if you're wet?
If you're wet, stay away from it.
We actually had to stay in the island. We were not able to return to land, to the hotel. It was like camping when you go out and then something goes wrong. It worked out really well. It brought in a very strong sense of group.
Maybe like at 1 in the morning, someone found a bottle of vodka, I think, and then watching that get shared by 80 people, that was a challenge.
I guess about 120 of us had to spend the night on our set in this house, you know, kind of laying down tarps and sleeping on the floor. And I slept in a bathtub, I think.
Yeah, well, we went to Rio in the rainy season because we do stuff like that.
Hurricane force winds and monsoon rains. It seems fairly typical of honeymoons, really. If you put a lot of emphasis on a vacation, it ends up being pretty abysmal.
Nothing if not traditional.
You see? Let's go again. Okay, we'll come.
We started the movie, we structured it such that we would start with really Rob and Kristen, and as much as, you know, maybe almost a month of shooting, just with them.
You want to take a look around?
Bill really wanted to just be able to kind of focus in on the early stages of their relationship.
It was a really good, comfortable way for all of us to get to know each other. And I feel that with Rob, he's an incredibly charming guy.
We have to do that again. His elbow to
Edward can sometimes be brooding and filled with doubt, but when he finally makes this leap and marries Bella and gets what he wants, you know, I thought there was just like a kind of charm and ease and a more of Rob Pattinson that he was willing to bring to the part.
Oh, God.
And that was the most valuable time that we had.
Okay, good. Thank you.
For those of you who haven't been there, the waterfall location is a hike. Even though locations have done a fine job in making the path safe, just be aware, it's a jungle. Security, Tulio, let's have all your guys raise their hands.
¿Vas a cargar eso junto o separado?
No, separado.
The biggest challenge of all is when you go to a foreign country is you have to deal with language barriers.
There are ant piles. You could stand in one and suddenly you'll be dinner.
Cuidado com o caminho que vocês estiverem indo na trilha, tem animais, répteis, enfim, a gente está numa floresta.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go.
Obrigada, gente.
It was a very big hike, taking equipment up, and it was a big deal.
Here we go, man.
Everybody who goes up the hill, carry something. The first location will be halfway up the trail.
Primeira locação é a metade do caminho da trilha.
The second location will be almost to the top, and then we finish at the waterfall.
It was a very beautiful place. It was one of those few places still left in the earth where things are pristine. The level of nature at its best, you know, jumping at you. It was really beautiful.
My name is Douglas Cantudo. I'm one of the stunts coordinators of Superação Stunts. Really glad to help the Twilight Saga. Today, Edward and Bella had a scene on a waterfall. We had to jump.
Naturally, this is too dangerous for them to do. So we've done basically 3 elements here, which is the stunt doubles at the top of the waterfall, which we will do a replacement with digital doubles. And then we did splash elements so that we could actually see them landing in the water. And in post, we'll use CG to marry the images together.
Today was a specific job that we had to do. We had to build a safe path for the crew, film from up there. On our crew today, we had 6 guys working as stunt riggers plus 2 divers. It was a big job, and I hope it's gonna be okay for the movie, gonna contribute.
All the rock was very slippery. It was actually, people could fall at any moment.
We'd taken off as much moss as possible. Basically, it was just like everybody taking their turn, like going down, you know, which I did a couple of times.
Look at how beautiful that is. You see them shaking? I know.
It was pretty cold. The actors were great sports just jumping in that day. And I know Kristen especially is not a big fan of the water. She was really a trooper.
Great. Okay, pull him out. Okay, pull him out.
Good? Really good. Good. We'll print 2 and 3.
On a good gate, we're moving up the hill.
It is such a huge thing that these books and movies have been leading to for the first time, and it was like, wow, there are big things to figure out here. Sex for the first time. So we came back here in Baton Rouge and then did the interiors of the Honeymoon.
In a kind of, really small, protected setting.
And it was all about just keeping an environment that was comfortable for everybody, because they're not the only ones that are uncomfortable with it. It's also the people around it. Shooting a love scene is one of the most difficult things to do in movies, actually, because there's all this thing of the stereotype and what people expect.
And so